Hi everyone, it's Nathan and Jacqueline here, bringing you 3 easy steps to the perfect crosswind landing.
Landing. It's the phase when the majority of aviation accidents occur, and 1/3 of all accidents in the landing phase occur in gusty or very windy conditions. It's not surprising why crosswind landings can be so intimidating.
But mastering the crosswind landing is an essential part of becoming a pilot. So let's take a look at these 3 essential steps. Number 1, crab and slip.
Crabbing involves turning the nose into the wind so that some component of the aircraft's thrust is counteracting the crosswind, allowing the aircraft's ground track to align with the runway.
Slipping involves banking the aircraft so that some portion of the wing's lift is counteracting the crosswind. Opposite rudder is applied to prevent the aircraft from turning and maintain the ground track parallel to the runway. Here's where we find one of the biggest false dichotomies in all of aviation. Pilots often fall into the misconception that both crabbing and slipping are 2 separate landing techniques, and only one can be used while landing in a crosswind. If you go online, there are dozens of people debating which is better, to crab or to slip. This is incredibly misleading and couldn't be further from the truth.
With some exceptions of certain aircraft incapable of a slip, a proper crosswind landing involves both elements. Start with a crab into the wind so your ground track is appropriate for final approach. Adjust the angle accordingly until you're just above the runway, about 20 feet depending on your aircraft, and transition into a slide slip to get right on the center line.
The transition should be smooth while simultaneously aligning the nose of the airplane to the runway, also banking into the wind to counteract the crosswind component.
Keep in mind that due to surface friction and the Coriolis effect, the wind will change as you descend.
Aviation textbooks and study guides will describe it all in clunky terms like downwind aileron and blank. But really it's very simple. Your ailerons keep you over the runway, and your rudder aligns the fuselage with the center line. Your rudder and ailerons will always be opposite of each other when you're transitioning from a crab to a slip.
If you're not on center line, simply fly back towards center line, then straighten your fuselage with your rudder. Repeat after me. Get over the runway, then straighten out using the opposite rudder.
When landing in a slip, it's okay to touch down one wheel at a time. For example, if you've got a crosswind coming from your right main may touch down first. Number 2, keep your speed up. Now this one is highly dependent on the airplane that you're actually landing, but in general, it's quite helpful to carry more speed upon landing than you typically would.
Keeping your speed up and using less flaps or no flaps at all will help stabilize your approach.
Students who train at flight schools who are always taught to use full flaps on landing can be seen blown around in the wind like a kite on gusty crosswind days.
Remember to increase aileron input as airspeed slows. Control surfaces become less effective as you slow down.
Number 3, finish the landing.
When you touch down, you're still not done.
Keep your crosswind correction angle in even after you've touched down to maintain full control of the airplane, both while slowing down and taxiing off of the runway. More tips and tricks for mastering crosswind landings.
Don't be afraid to go around and try again. We can't stress this enough.
If you don't like it or you aren't stabilized, go around. Don't react to the wind, plan for the wind.
Don't fight or try to over-control the airplane.
For a standard pattern, you'll want to keep crosswind correction technique in mind with each leg and continue making the appropriate power and control inputs.
If you're in the downwind and not crabbing into the wind, you could get blown too close or too far away from the runway, causing you to mess up your turn onto final.
In difficult landing conditions, it's always best to set yourself up for the best possible approach.
The best way to master crosswind landings is to practice what we call the depth perception triangle. Keep looking at 3 things throughout your landing: the end of the runway, the end of your cowling, and out your side window.
Doing this allows you to master your airplane's attitude and behavior in crosswind landings, as it responds to both your control inputs and the crosswind. This is something that you consciously have to force yourself to do, but when it becomes second nature, you're going to be a master at crosswind landings.
We hope that these 3 easy steps will help you master that crosswind landing.
As always, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Jacqueline.
Take care.